hear the beat, it's in my chest. Got me feeling some kind of way. I confess the rhythm takes over, no room to rest. My heart's dancing, it's a love conquest. Oh, the melody, it's smooth and sweet, like honey dripping from a golden bee. It's the soundtrack to my soul's heat, making me move from my head to my feet, my heartbeat.
So to make this skirt, you'll be needing at least 2 yards of Ankara fabric, depending on the fabric you want to use. So I have this fabric here that I'm going to make use of, and then I also have my lining. So this is how the lining is. This is what I'm going to be making use of. I had about 2 yards of lining here, and I also have this Ankara fabric. I'm trying to make a dress, so for the down part, which is the skirt part, is what we are going to be cutting out. So let's go ahead and start drafting. So first I'm going to draw up a line here, which will be serving as my starting line, or you can also call this the waistline. So that's where I'm going to be taking all my measurement from. So from that line, I'm going to come down to her hip, sorry, the length of my skirt, and then I'm going to connect this into a straight line.
I just can't help but sway, nothing else matters, it's my heart that obeys.
So after connecting the lines, this is how it looks. Now we are going to take our hip depth. I'm making this for my sister, so from her waist to hip, for her it's about 7.5 inch, and from there I will take her knee length, which is 20 inches, and then the full length, which is 35 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect all these points into a straight line. Note that I'm making this in form of a dress, but the down part is what we are cutting out, which is a pencil skirt. So after connecting all these lines, the next thing I'm going to do now is to label this the waistline, the hip line, and here is the knee line, and then the full length of the skirt. So after connecting this, the next thing is to now take our measurement. So from the waistline, her round waist is 29 inches. So I'm going to divide that by 4. I'm going to divide 29 by 4. So you can see what I have here. I'm just going to go ahead and impute it here. So go ahead and divide your round waist by 4 and mark it here. So this skirt is not going to be having a dart. Like I said, I'm going to be making this in form of a dress. So the skirt part is not going to be having a dart. So when we are cutting, making the full dress, you understand why I didn't add that to this. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe so that when I start making the dress, you go ahead and get notified. So after marking her round waist divided by 4, I went ahead to add 1.5 inch stitching allowance. So if you're going to be adding that to your skirts, just in case you want to make pencil skirts, after marking your round waist divided by 4, go ahead and add your stitching allowance, and then add 1 inch for the dart. Then come to your hip line. I'm going to divide her round hip by 4. So her round hip by 4, and the general 1.5 inch stitching allowance we gave earlier. So if you're adding a dart, you don't need to add that on the hip line. So you're going to add 1 inch dart from the waistline, but don't add that on the hip line, please. So I just hope you understand what I'm saying, but in case you don't, please let me know in the comment section so that I will do a tutorial on that skirt part alone, so that you guys understand. But I just hope this was really helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and connect all these points to meet the hip line using my curved rule. So like I said, you're not adding that on the hip line. So now the next thing is to come to the knee line. You can divide what you have there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and measure what I have in between these points, and then I'm still going to mark it here. I'm still going to mark what I have here. Then on the full length, I'm going to be removing 1 inch. I think I had 11 inches, so I'm going to be removing 1 inch, which is 10 inches. I'm going to now mark 10 inches here. So mark 10 inches here, and then I'm going to now connect all the points together. I promise you guys, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to go about a pencil skirt on its own. So just in case you don't understand this, but I just hope you understand, because this is also very detailed. So it's just the same thing. The only difference is that. So right now, after this, I decided to go in again from this point by ½ inch, because I want it a little bit like in form of a pencil. So I'm just going to go in by ½ inch again and then connect it to meet the first line I drew earlier.
I hear the beat, it's in my chest, got me feeling some kind of way. I confess the rhythm takes over, no room to rest.
Okay guys, after connecting it, this is how it looks. Another difference with when you're making a pencil skirt is you're going to be having sloping the waist, the front waist. So that's why I said I'm going to do another tutorial. So after connecting them, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out all these parts. Note that I'm making this tutorial because when I'm making the dress, I don't want it to be too long. So that's why I had to just cut this for you guys to see, just in case when we start cutting the full dress you don't get lost. So I will advise you watch this, because the full dress tutorial is going to come up, so you don't get confused when we start doing that. So this is the fabric I'm going to use to cut out. So I've gone ahead to first fold it into 2 this way, and then folded it again into 4. So this way I was hoping to have like 3 pieces, 1 for the front and 2 pieces for the back. But after cutting this, I realized that I had just 2. So when you want to try this, please make sure to fold your fabric into 2, cut out your front pieces, and then fold it again into 2 and cut out the back pieces. When you are cutting out the back pieces, ensure that it's 2 pieces and not 1. So that was a mistake I did. So I'm going to correct this when next I'm making a pencil skirt for you guys, so that you understand exactly. Okay, so I've gone ahead to place my pattern paper here. Another thing is, when placing this, make sure that the part that is straight is on the folded edge. That's for the front pieces. The part that is straight is on the folded edge this way, and the part that is curved around your hip, that part that is curved is on the opened part. Like if you fold your fabric into 2, you realize there's a folded edge and there's a part that is not folded at all, that has an opening. So that's where to place that hip area there, so that by the time you are done, the hip area will just go directly on your hip and not be at the center. So now I've just gone ahead to pin this into place like this, and now I'll just go ahead and trace out every other thing here. So the only difference between this and the normal pencil skirt is the dart, is because we didn't add that to this, and you'll be sloping the waist area for the front alone. So I'm going to be making a tutorial on this particular skirt alone. So I just had to make this, like I said, I'm turning this into a dress. So because I don't want the video to be too long, I decided to show you guys this other part here. So what I'm doing is I went ahead to add 1 inch on the side. Please notice the side I'm adding that 1 inch, which is this curved area here. That 1 inch is going to be serving as my zipper allowance. Okay, remember we didn't draft the back, so we are using the front pieces now to cut out both the front and the back. So For this, I'm adding 1.5 inch for the I'm adding 1.5 inch here for the zipper allowance. So you see the mistake I did. That's why I'm saying fold your fabric into two first, cut it out before you now cut out the back. So when you're cutting the back, that's when you add your 1 inch for the zipper allowance. Just hope you understand. So I'll just go ahead and cut out every other thing here, and then when I'm done, I'm going to show you guys what I had. So this is what I had after I was done cutting this out. So what I did was, after cutting this, I went ahead behind the camera, to cut out the 1 inch I gave earlier for the zipper allowance on the front pieces, because we don't need it on the front pieces, we only need it on the back pieces. So when you cut out your back, add your zipper allowance and don't add to the front piece. So this is the lining here. I'm going to go ahead, place it on top and cut out every other thing exactly the way we did for the front. So right now I'm going ahead to pin this down so it doesn't move when we are cutting this out. So go ahead and pin it down. Now for the down part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be folding in about 1 inch. I'm going to be folding in about 1 inch, and that is because you don't want your lining to be showing at the ends of your skirt. So this is how to go about that. Fold in 1 inch this way and pin it down. I'm just going to go ahead and then cut out every other thing the same way we did for the front.
You know just what you do to me. Play my emotions like a pair of puppet strings. Did it ever occur to you my heart's more than a toy? Please go easy on me.
So guys, this is how it looks after I was done cutting it out. I'm gonna head to remove the pattern paper. So this is why I said make sure you cut this separately. First of all, cut the front before cutting the back. Now the back pieces has to be 2 pieces, while the front has to be on fold. So this is what I had. I'm just going to go ahead and open the front pieces so that you see how it is. So this is very big right now because we added 1.5 inch for stitching allowance and also 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So this is the lining here. I'm just going to go ahead and place it this way, so you see. So this is how it looks. When I bring it up this way, you see that this other part here is shorter. So that's how it's supposed to be. So when we are done joining it, you understand better. So right now I'm going to turn this lining right side facing my actual fabric. So turn it right side facing each other like this. Right side facing each other like this, and then I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and stitch down the ends of this skirt here this way. Stitch down this part, and I'll show you guys what I had after I was done stitching that part. Just make sure you stitch just that part for now. So guys, this is what I had after I was done stitching this down. Just hope you can see my thread here. So this is the lining, this is how it looks. You can see that the waist area here it's opened about 1 inch, so that's how it's supposed to be. I also went ahead to do same for the back pieces as well. So this is one of the piece. This is how it looks. I'm just going to go ahead and align this so that you see this clearly. So you see about 1 inch shorter on the waist area. So this is how yours should look like. Let's go ahead and bring out the other pieces as well. So the back pieces has 2. The back has 2 pieces and the front has just 1. So this is how it looks here. 1 inch shorter on the waist area. So now the next thing we are going to go ahead and do is to align the upper parts and then go ahead and pin it down. So let me just go ahead and show you guys what I'm trying to say. So right now I'm just going to align this part here. Don't worry if the other side is coming up, that's how it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to pin this part just to make sure that everything aligns together like this. Just hope you understand. Just go ahead and pin it down this way.
Chasing waterfalls, Oh, you got me chasing waterfalls. Oh,
After pinning this down, this is how this other part is coming up. So that's how it's supposed to be. So we are now going to go over to my sewing machine, and then I'm going to stitch down the sides like this. So when I get to this point, I have to make it fold this way before stitching on it. So place it like this and stitch down on the sewing machine, and then do same for this other part as well. So this is it, and then I'm going to be repeating same for the back pieces as well. Hope you understand. So guys, this is how it looks after I was done. I went ahead to turn this over to the right side, and this is how everything is looking. So this is the back pieces here, and you can see this area that I told you guys. You see how nice everything came out. So this is how yours should look like, or even more beautiful than this. So this is the other side. This is how it looks. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this part this way and show you guys. So this is how everything came out. I also went ahead to iron it out, and then let me go ahead and keep this aside and then open this one for you. So you can also see these areas here. You see how beautiful everything is looking. So when you are turning this into a skirt, I'm going to show you what to do next. So this is the back area. This is how it looks. So turn this over to the right side this way, and also remember that I didn't close the waist area for the front pieces and for the back pieces as well. So I didn't close all these areas here. That was where I went ahead to turn from the back to the right. So when you're making this into a skirt, place them this. Now I'll go ahead and place these right side facing each other this way. So if you're making this into a skirt, you can decide to fix your zipper before placing it this way. So, or you can decide to use this method. So I'll just stitch down this side here with whatever length or whatever allowance you gave it, and after then you're going to now pick up this part here, fix your zipper. So, and after then, anyhow you want your slit to be, if you want it too long, go ahead and measure it that way. So because I'm making this into a dress, I'm not going to be doing all of that. So in my next video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I went about making or turning this into a dress. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so that when it drops, you'll be first to get notified. So bye, see you guys.